And I want to start also by saying that just yesterday, I received a letter from the Speaker of the House of Tennessee removing me from every committee that I serve on as a member. And not just me, but every black elected official in Tennessee has now been removed from their committees. This is what we mean when we're facing a new system of Jim Crow inequality.
Damn.
This is the stakes. And so I see the sign that says, we will not go back. And we've chanted, we will not go back. And when I walked off the House floor last Thursday, I walked out and I burned a Confederate flag outside the chamber to send a message that we will not go back to the times in which our folks were met with billy clubs and the blast of fire hoses for trying to exercise their equal participation in our democracy. We will not go back to times in which we had days in jail cells and nights of bomb threats for trying to be equal citizens in this multiracial democracy. We will not go back.
This is just Jim Crow 2.0. It's sick. Stone cold racism in a scale I never thought I'd see in my lifetime. Never have seen in my lifetime. It's all happening. Bringing us back to a pre-1960s world. It's jaw-dropping what's happening. It was jaw-dropping what Governor Landry did. He suspended a primary election where tens of thousands of people had already voted. Why? To redistrict 2 districts to eliminate black representation. I can't believe that we're experiencing this. My parents talked to me about this. I said, well, thank God it's not going to happen on my lifetime. And it's happening in real time. Anti-woke is anti-black. All these attacks on DEI, it's anti-black. Level of racism is sick. Rewriting history, censoring historical fact. A number of African Americans have been eliminated from key positions and posts. The Pentagon and elsewhere, it's sick. It's happening in the United States of America in the open. And it needs to be called out. So forgive me for reacting this way. And I feel a deep responsibility to do something about this, and nothing to do with me as governor, just as a human being. This is not why our founding fathers lived and died. It was about the expansion of liberty, expansion of freedom, including more and more people. And we're seeing exactly the opposite take shape under this administration.
Buying incinerators, and now we have proof. A Navy contract was just released showing the Navy is managing the construction of a massive network of immigration detention centers across the nation. And what's included in the contract is extremely disturbing. It describes tent cities that can hold 10,000 people each, with a specific provision for biohazard incinerators under the medical and death section. That means they are specifically planning for death and choosing to burn the evidence right there on site. The reason DHS is paying the Navy $55 billion for this is so they can get this nationwide network of giant detention centers with infrastructure for handling death built as quickly as possible. And they tried to do it quietly by updating the Navy's existing contract to make this deal instead of creating a new contract specifically for this. Here are my sources if you want more information.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 23. It reads, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me behind the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest the table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord Yahweh forever." Shalom Akim. Kol Haloyim La, Allahayanawa Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakaha Kodash, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahushai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well or who teach well. Shalom to the Akim out there that's pushing the truth, is laboring in the word, and is pushing the gospel of the great kingdom that's soon to come. Shalom to the Akwath that's listening in, is remaining true to the faith, of remaining faithful and submissive to their husbands and guiding their children. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes that scattered abroad throughout the 4 corners of the earth, to you Israelite foreigners out there who live among the heathen and who look like those heathen nations. But your lineage goes back to the progenitors of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel through the line of your fathers. I want to say peace and blessings to you all. Barakatham. All right. So as you can see, all right, things are about to take place. All right, and prophecy is moving fast. Okay. Now is most certainly not the time to lose your hope, to lose faith. Now is not the time for you to start doubting. All right. The time is now for you to begin truly meditating on the promises that the Heavenly Father gave us. All right. To rest in this strong tower that we have. Right? As it says in Proverbs chapter 18, verse 10, that the name of the Lord, Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua, is a strong tower, and the righteous runneth into it and are safe, man. All right, this is 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 7. It reads, "And to you who are troubled, rest with us, when the Lord Yahushua shall be revealed from heaven with his mighty angels," man. All right. All hell's about to break loose. Okay, I showed those 2 videos, okay, where these devils are about to come, they're about to come down with great wrath, as the scripture said that they would do so. You know what I'm saying? The man of sin has been revealed, these Edomites, okay? On a large scale, everyone can see them for who they are. And there's no more need for them to pretend to be this jolly, pleasant and peaceful type of individual, you know what I'm saying? There's no more need to pretend that. All right, now it's time for them to show their horns. You see what I'm saying? So what you're seeing right now that's pretty much taking place is what we, the prophets, have been going into for a long time. All right. It's known as the King Alfred Plan. All right. And also Rex 84, Operation Rex 84. Okay. These are the contingency plans that they have in place to calm the dissidents and or shall I say subdue it, you know what I'm saying? And to bring you Jakes under the submission. All right. One of the things that the individual said, all right, the one brother who looks to be of the Northern Kingdom, all right, he said, we're not going back. All right, not going back, man. All right. And this is the type of sentiment that these Edomites have been preparing for a long time, you know what I'm saying, for years, for decades. All right, since the 60s. They've been preparing for this. All right, because they know that the inevitable is going to happen, all right, as they continue down this course. You see what I'm saying? And the King Alfred Plan, it's said to be pretty much a fictitious document, you know what I'm saying, that doesn't exist. All right. That's what they say about the King Alfred Plan. However, they said the same thing about their weather seeding program, which turned out to be absolutely true. They said this concerning their HARP program, which turned out to be true. You look at the Willie Lynch letter, the Willie Lynch letter, which, you don't even have to ask so-called black people if it's true or not. You see what I'm saying? It's not hard. All right. They can easily just show you the effects of what's written in the letter and show it through real-time behaviors, man. You see what I'm saying? And here we are, pretty much in a time where practically every conspiracy theory has been proven true, You know what I'm saying? From particular islands to, you know, the actions that's taken by these politicians, okay, and these people of a high status with regards to these children. You see what I'm saying? With different military applications. All right. Things like Project Zypher and Project Polo. You know what I'm saying? Where they surveil you, where they keep track and monitor your every move, your presence on the internet. You know what I'm saying? How they're utilizing AI, all right, to further oppress the people. Okay? So it's not so far-fetched, you know what I'm saying, to see how the King Alfred plan could be a very real thing. All right, as I'm going to break it down to you. And before you think, all right, for 1 second, that this is only aimed towards so-called black people, all right, we the prophets are here to tell you that it's aimed towards all the tribes. You so-called Latinos, Hispanics, Native Indians, and you so-called Negroes as well, man. So in short, these plans are being focused on both kingdoms of Yasha Allah as a whole, you Israelites as a whole, and this plan is underway. See what I'm saying? Let me get this in. Let's go to Psalms chapter 10. All right, Psalms chapter 10 and start at verse 8. No, Salaki. Let's start at verse 7. It says, his mouth is full of cursings and deceit and fraud. Under his lips is mischief and vanity. He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. In the secret places doth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor. He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net. He croucheth and humbleth himself, that the poor may fall by his strong ones. He hath said in his heart, the Most High hath forgotten. He hideth his face, he will never see it. You see what I'm saying? So, these devils are making their moves. All right, they're making their moves with artificial intelligence. They're making their moves with you know, the seizure of all these lands and all this all the agriculture, the food, the water. All right, all these different things, man. So let's go into this King Alfred plan. All right, just to give the rundown of it. All right. The King Alfred Plan was a contingency program allegedly developed by the U.S. government to address potential civil unrest by African Americans. And here's an outline of its purported components. All right. Basic premise: a secret government program to suppress a potential black uprising, so-called, in the U.S., named after the Anglo-Saxon King Alfred the Great, all right, they're not the Anglo-Saxon, but that's another lesson for another time. Also reportedly developed during the Civil Rights Movement era in the 1960s. Key elements: creation of a system to identify, to catalog, and monitor potential so-called black leaders and activists, establishment of detention facilities to hold large numbers of African Americans, so-called, plans for a rapid deployment of military forces to control predominantly so-called black urban areas, and implementation of special courts to handle such cases related to the uprising. All right. And like us, you know, this is what we've been seeing for the past, for the past 8 months, What we've been seeing are these people, okay, implementing these plans, but using the cover of so-called immigration as a means to implement it and establish these things. All right. So they started with the so-called Latinos and Hispanics. All right. And even the Native Indians was caught up in the mix. Why? As we, the prophets, beginning with our apostles, bishops, and elders on down, have told you, is that when judgment hits, it hits the northern kingdom first and the southern kingdom worse. You see what I'm saying? The northern kingdom gets it first. That's you so-called Latinos, Hispanics, Native Indians. The northern kingdom always gets it first. And the southern kingdom gets it worse, you so-called Negroes. You see what I'm saying? If you do not understand this dynamic of prophecy, you're not going to understand what's going on. You see what I'm saying? It's no different. Nothing is new under the sun. All right. You look at the Assyrian captivity. The northern kingdom of Israel went into captivity first. And then you look at the Babylonian captivity. All right. The southern kingdom gets it worst. You understand? So, continuing on, it says operation structure. All right. Operation structure says use of federal, state, or local law enforcement agencies for intelligence gathering. I just mentioned Project Pogo and Project Zephyr. Okay. Integration of National Guard units for potential domestic deployment. Coordination with intelligence agents for surveillance and monitoring. Special training for law enforcement in crowd control and suppression techniques. Now, what triggers would cause this implementation? All right, four key points would be: 1, widespread urban riots or civil disturbances; 2, organized resistance to government authority; 3, significant threats to national security or public order; and 4, declaration of national security. See what I'm saying? Specific measures says development of a computer database or individuals deemed potential threats. When you see these data centers, all right, they call them data centers for a reason. If they was to call them surveillance centers, which is what they actually are, then the public wouldn't accept it. You see? The public wouldn't accept it. If it was anyone else that was being courted into these concentration camps such as Alligator Alcatraz, if it was anyone else, you would hear a public outcry. You know what I'm saying? There would be an outrage. You see what I'm saying? But if it's the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Indians, you see what I'm saying? The public is all right with it. And this is why we the prophets told you niggas stop celebrating what's happening to these so-called Latinos, Hispanics. Stop laughing. We told you that. Stop laughing. Because what's coming to you is going to be far worse than what's happening to them. You see what I'm saying? They want all of the tribes. This is what you Jakes don't seem to understand. They want all of us. All right? And they're going to bring that about. This is what's known as Jacob's trouble. Okay? All these scoffers, all these false prophets was jumping up and down telling you that there wasn't going to be no Jacob's trouble. All right? That none of that was going to happen. Jacob's trouble is gay. You know what I'm saying? We already been through Jacob's trouble. You about to see it. You about to see it. See what I'm saying? So specific measures, again, development of a computer database of individuals deemed potential threats, plans for mass arrests and detentions that's in the works, and we can see it being We can see it coming to pass right now, man. Another, it says control of communication systems in affected areas. Control of communication systems in affected areas. All they have to do is cut the power. All they got to do is cut off these towers. There goes your internet. You see? And we the prophets told you, we warned you that this is coming. They're going to cut off this internet and they're going to reset it. And you're going to need a digital identification in order to participate in it. It says restrictions on movements within and between urban centers. Urban centers, what are we talking about here? We're talking about smart cities. Restrictions on movement within and between urban centers. Economic sanctions against communities participating in unrest. Okay? Long-term strategies. Programs to neutralize so-called black political organizations. Methods to divide and fragment activist movements, all right? Such as COINTELPRO. All right, COINTELPRO. You got these different agents that have been wiggling around inside these different camps, all right? Inside these different organizations. You see what I'm saying? This is why you get these leaders all of a sudden changing the doctrines. Okay, they're changing the doctrine. They're attacking your faith by saying that there was no miracles. All right, that the chariots aren't real. You see, this is agent activity. So it says methods to divide and fragment activist movements, propaganda campaigns to counter revolutionary ideologies. All right, propaganda campaigns. All right, what are we called? We're being called so-called black identity extremists. All right, that's what they're calling us. You see what I'm saying? That's a propaganda campaign. It says integration of community leaders willing to cooperate with authorities. All right, integration of community leaders, so they integrate them. They implant these agents. You see? This is 2026, the year of apostasy, sellouts, and agents, man. So, let's see. So it says the King Alpha Plan in the event of widespread continuing and coordinated racial or civil disturbances in the United States of America, King Alfred, at the behest of discretion of the president, is to be put into action. All right, this is why you see all of a sudden these characters like Chud the Builder, you know what I'm saying, sparking racial tension. All right, you got your boy Grandmaster Jay, who's coming back out into the spotlight, you know what I'm saying, with this NFAC. All right. You got what else? You know what I'm saying? You got all types of stuff that's going on, man. Racial tensions are at an all-time high now. Okay? So it says, in the event of widespread, continuing, and coordinated racial and civil disturbances in the United States of America, King Alfred, at the behest or discretion of the president, is to be put into action immediately. Participating federal agencies, all right, include the National Security Council, Department of Justice, CIA, Department of Defense, FBI, DOI, Department of Interior, Federal Emergency Management Agency or FEMA, all right, Immigration Naturalization Services, INS, participating state agencies under federal jurisdiction, National Guard units, reservists, units of the Army, highway patrol agencies, state police agencies, all right, state emergency management agencies, disaster relief, and civil disturbance. You see what I'm saying? And the list goes on, man. All right. Let's see what they'll be able to seize. All right. It says to suppress unrest. Henry Kissinger and his clients hardly missed a day's profits in their deals. All right, with the two butchers of Tiananmen Square. All right, they have executive orders that are applicable in this endeavor. The following executive orders, now recorded in the Federal Register and therefore accepted by Congress as the law of the land, can be put into effect at any time an emergency is declared. Executive Order 10995. All communications media seized by the federal government. 10997. Seizure of all electrical power, fuels, including gasoline and minerals. All right. 10998. Seizure of all food resources, farms, and farm equipment. Now tell me, is all this stuff in the midst of happening right now? All right. These things are in the midst of happening at this very point in time. You see what I'm saying? It continues on and on. Seizure of all kinds of transportation, including your own personal vehicle, and control of all highways and seaports. Seizure of all civilians for work under federal supervision. Federal takeover of all health, education, and welfare. Postmaster General empowered to register every man, woman, and child in the United States. All right. And that could be used for what? For what purpose? For conscription, for war. You see what I'm saying? Seizure of all aircraft and airports by the federal government. Housing and Finance Authority may shift population from the locality to another. You see what I'm saying? Complete integration. Seizure of railroads and waterways and storage facilities. All right. The director of the Office of Emergency Planning authorized to put executive orders into effect in times of increased international tension or financial crisis. You see what I'm saying? So all these things is finna happen, man. All these things are finna happen. It's going to be a civil unrest. It's going to be civil wars. It's going to be race wars, riots, all types of stuff. Let's go to 2nd Esdras. All right, 2nd Esdras chapter 15, verse 15. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings, nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. You see? These things is coming, man. These things is coming. 2nd Esdras chapter 16. All right? 2nd Esdras chapter 16 and verse 12. It's like it, verse 17. Verse 17. It says, woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. You see what I'm saying? And all of this chaos, all this rioting, all this looting, you see what I'm saying? All this civil unrest, all right, it's all going to be hinged upon food, provisions, lack of water. You see what I'm saying? We're already starting to see these tech billionaires, they're under threat. Their houses are being burned, and jokers tossing Molotovs inside Sam Altman's house or some shit. You see what I'm saying? So we're already starting to see the contention happen. All right. But why are they focused on you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Indians? All right. That's the real question. You see what I'm saying? It says, verse 23, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men, so that one man shall desire to see another, and to hear his voice. For of a city there shall be 10 left, and 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves and in the clefts of the rocks. It's going to be so few people left alive. You see what I'm saying? And like we say, Jacob's trouble is everyone's trouble, man. You see what I'm saying? The target is you, Jakes. The target is Jacob. Yasha Allah, the target is the children of Israel. You see what I'm saying? Everyone else is collateral damage. You see what I'm saying? You have to understand, these Edomites, all right, and these people in power, they're in scorched earth. They're in scorched earth mode. All right? They don't care who they hit. They don't care what. All right? The purpose is for the children of Israel, man. All right? And this is why Yahweh Shah said that the days must be shortened, because if they're not, no flesh is going to be saved, man. No flesh. All right? But this is why you got these jokers bringing incinerators inside these detention facilities, as they call them. You know what I'm saying? This is why you got this stuff. It's about to be real out here, man. All right? It's about to be real out here. So I'm going to cut that there. I pray this lesson was edifying to the elect of the nation of Israel. Hey, be strong in the faith, man. And don't forget that the Lord promised us. You know what? Let me get this real quick. I can't leave you without this. All right, this is Isaiah chapter 59 and verse 19. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai shall lift up a standard against him. You see? So those that are troubled, man, rest with us. Be still and be calm. The Lord's got this. You see what I'm saying? The Lord's got it. When you see the drones, when you see the killer robots and all that stuff, man, don't be afraid. You know what I'm saying? It will be a fearsome thing to see, a fearful thing to see. You know what I'm saying? But don't give in to fear. Remember that it's the Lord who's ultimately controlling all this. You see? He's controlling these Edomites. He's controlling these devils to do what they doing, man. All right? This is your test. So I pray this lesson was edifying to the elect in the nation of Israel. This has been your brother Zachariah Allah, branched out here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. In closing, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Ruchak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and who teach well. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Shalom.